Welcome to the second episode of DSTUDIO podcast. And today the topic is international cloud security landscapes. We have with us our esteemed guests, Mr. Rana Usman from Dynamic Solution and Technology, who is a senior cloud and security architect. And we have our esteemed guest from who is an ex-Microsoft delivery-focused program manager, Mr. Jonathan Ricketts. Just a brief introduction of Mr. Jonathan. He has been working with Microsoft as a program manager with a proven track record in managing an implementation of high-profile business change, digital and infrastructure programs with budgets more than 20 million pounds. Jonathan has and had an hands-on experience in Azure, Power BI, SharePoint, and information security, along with Microsoft consulting services and adoption, change management, and modern service management. All in all, he is a skilled leader and a communicator, able to maintain cultural sensitivity, establish rapport with members of diverse groups, and promote team cohesiveness, experienced in managing complex agile and Prince 2 projects, risks and issues, budgets, enterprise wide planning, as well as developing board level stakeholder relationships. I welcome you both, and the floor is on to you for the discussion on today's topic. Please.
Thank you for the introduction.
So, you're welcome, Jonathan.
Thank you, Salman.
You're welcome.
So, moving forward. Hi, Jonathan.
Hi,
Long
Rana.
time since we discussed
Yes,
other things related to projects.
it's been a couple of months.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So, I want to tell the audience how actually we met, how I met my manager actually. Actually, we worked together with one of our financial institute within UK, and what we did on that with that project actually we migrated some of the resources from the existing Azure tenant and from the local data center, and then we implemented military gate security, and we wanted that 100% secure. So that's where I met Jonathan, and that's how we started working together. And I welcome you, Jonathan. So today what we'll be discussing actually, as I know you've been traveling a lot, you are working with a huge amount of customers across the globe. So I want to ask you that how do you think, what is the security landscape internationally right now?
It's very positive. We're seeing a lot of people stepping up and making their environment secure. One of the things I've done recently is we just moved 100,000 users onto smaller platforms. So they were on, I think, about 75 tenants. So people are consolidating down to a smaller amount of tenants. Microsoft is doing a lot more around cross-platform management and being able to get tenant-to-tenant conversations going. So people are recognizing that they need to be more in-house. They need to be quicker off the mark and talking to each other. We're seeing a lot more federation between customers and sharing of documents. And when it comes to some of the Azure features that are out there, it's incredible what they're doing and
Yeah.
what we have been doing.
Yeah, no, I get that. I know people are adopting to security, but I want to know what is the exact reason why people are adopting security. Is it the reason is that they are, being attacked and they are being victim of ransomware,
Yeah,
or Microsoft's, awareness campaign is self-sufficient itself that people are, getting awareness from the principle. So
I think
what
the
do you think?
I think the primary driver is actually legislation within companies. They have
Yeah.
to meet certain legislation within their areas. I think if it wasn't for that, adoption would be much slower. Business is always about
Hmm.
profit first. Security, while it doesn't make a profit, it certainly protects them from losing money in areas. I think
Exactly. Exactly.
a couple of years ago, I think about encryption when we had
Hmm.
all of these different security things coming in, and they were just encrypting data, and companies
Yeah.
couldn't get near their systems anymore. With point of sale or an entire organization just disappearing. You have the US
Hmm.
hospitals being locked down, police stations. I remember getting in a lift actually with another company, and I wasn't working with them at all. and they all had a very glum look on their face. And I said to them, "What's the problem?" And they said to me, "Well, our entire organization's workstations have all just been encrypted, and we can't
Yeah.
get them back." So there's a
Mm.
lot of that kind of thing. And I think the second thing is just protection. I worked for a large broadcast organization in the UK, and they, on the other hand, while they complied with legislation, they had a problem with foreign bodies or governments hacking them because of some of the
Mm-hmm.
media and news they're putting out. So again, there are companies that are driven by that. But I think between legislation and hacking, most organizations now have recognized that they need to do something within this area.
Yeah, yeah, and now as we are in the digital era, one person can change the destiny of whole country with just some few clicks, right? Because
Yep,
now everything is
absolutely.
digital, everything is digital. So yeah, security. People are adopting the security. Another reason that I have seen internationally is that people are getting more certified through the regulatory compliances like ISO. So now internationally there are frameworks within USA, within UK. We worked with UK framework actually, and we implemented that the national cybersecurity laws established by UK government, and we implemented that. So like that, we have some rule framework for UAE, for Gulf, for US. So there's a pressure from government as well, on some on the organizations, and that is another reason why people are adopting to the security more and more.
Yeah, yeah. I remember a
Yeah,
couple of months ago, you and I sat down and we put together different legislations into a single spreadsheet to try and make sure that we
yeah,
could comply with a number of legislations rather than just one. That was
yes.
quite a fun project.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, that was a really quite fun project. Yeah,
yeah,
and speaking of that, the same customer for which we sat together is recently got audited from a very a very best of the best auditors in the world, and the report was it was awesome. So they are solid, secure, and yeah, it was a very big deal for me and for you, for the whole team actually.
yeah,
So
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
And your
Um,
recommendation to use technologies like Bastion
yeah.
as a way into an organization rather than the traditional VPN approach made a huge
Hmm.
difference to that client, and just added a level of security to it.
Definitely, definitely, because uh, always we need to adopt the innovative solutions and doing the RTP to a virtual machine. But doesn't matter where that virtual machine resides on Azure, AWS, or a GCP, or on a local data center. Always there's a concern that attacks can be a path can be a path can be cleared, and it can be a path to do victimize the virtual machines and how the data can be stolen. So RDP has those capabilities as well. So yeah, Bastion is a good solution for that.
Mm, mm. And
Right,
again,
right.
with that particular client, we had a challenge, and the challenge was how do you get data between a company that's splitting in half? You've got two separate Azure data centers. How do you move that data between the two? And there was a real challenge. And I think
Hmm.
your design for that really found a way through.
Thank you, Jonathan. Thank you. It's very nice of you if you are appreciating my design. Yeah, but I would not be able to do or design those architecture without your supervision, because you are the one who are keep on guiding us, the whole team actually, how we should move forward, because you've been working a lot with international clients, and this is what you have been doing, right?
Yeah,
So,
exactly right.
yeah, right.
So I
So,
think I think yeah.
yeah, carry on, carry on.
I was going to say that the real kicker in how things work is that you need to comply with their requirements. But most importantly, and I'm seeing it more and more actually at the moment, is that you also don't want to lock your client out from opportunities to be able to collaborate, share, get data to their external parties. It's very easy
Yeah.
to lock an environment down so it's secure for your own employees because you can lock a machine within that environment. But really, and I faced it the last week or two, where an organization shut down to the point where external third parties, including Microsoft, couldn't get to them, and they had to
Yeah.
find ways through it.
Yeah, yeah. So a proper design doesn't mean that you should lock it down. You should lock the environment, but you should have control on it. You should have control on the data, who is accessing the data, how it is accessing the data, and where the data is traveling. So this is
Mm.
where the proper security comes in, and this is where I would like to add this thing here, that this is where dynamic solutions is has expertise, that how we are been doing how we are securing the customers across the globe, globally, with the help of Microsoft recommendations as well, but with our design as well. So this is what we have been doing. So and yeah, thank you for recognizing our designs. So yeah, so we discuss a lot about that particular client. But what do you think, how, and you have managed a lot of customers internationally, so what do you think, what challenge did you face internationally while working with a lot of customers within a lot of countries? Do you face issues related to their geofencing, like the rules applied from their government, or do you face issues? Did you face issues related to their awareness? So how things worked for you?
So it's interesting because it depends on what's happening. Recently, we as I was alluded to a little bit earlier, we moved 100,000 users, and it was across the globe, from South America to North America, from Sydney, Australia, all the way through to Asia and China, down to the UK. It was I can't remember how many languages we had to support within that move. We had
Yeah,
project managers literally in every zone, and we're trying to consolidate these tenants down into a smaller number. We went to 25, from 25 to 15, and ideally, once Microsoft can support it, we want to go down to one tenant for the entire globe. But that comes with its own challenges, especially, as we alluded to a little bit earlier as well, is every one of those countries has its own set of security requirements that need to be adhered to for that country's policy. So, in other words, a government or an organization within the country says you need to adhere to this ISO set of rules or this set of security protocols. Trying to get that together, and we experienced a little bit of it within the organization you and I did some work with, but trying to do that across global borders becomes a real challenge. And at some
yeah,
point, you need to let the country that's hosting the data win out. So it becomes quite interesting because what you end up doing is going, where is the data located? Those are the security principles we need to adhere to. And
exactly.
it makes it slightly easier.
Exactly. And when people usually raise this question where the data is resided, along with that, there are some countries who has imposed uh, you know rules on their private sector and their public sector, that they cannot go to cloud. So if they cannot go to cloud, they cannot avail the security features as well. So
Yeah.
have you faced this kind of issue? That
No,
yeah, no,
fortunately or unfortunately, I'm not sure which. I haven't. The closest I got to is government mandates that don't allow data outside of the country, and that's limiting
yeah.
things. Currently at the moment, I'm working in the UAE with a
Hmm.
government body, and we're not allowed to have their data outside of the UAE, which uh, the only trouble with that is there's certain features and functions such as Power Platforms that's not available inside the UAE. It's available, but your data
Hmm.
has to reside outside of that. So I
In
would
Europe, I
caution
guess.
anybody. Yeah, exactly. And I think
Yeah,
with any project, when you start on it, look at the technologies you want to implement and ensure that the technologies you want to do reside in the country where data is going to be, and quickly and early highlight and let the client know which ones aren't available so that they can make decisions about what they want to do, whether that's going to a third
yeah.
party or waiting if it's coming soon. So good
Right, right.
relationship with your Microsoft partner network, and the TAMs is always a good idea. You can find out whether it's coming down the pipeline soon or whether you have to make another plan.
Definitely, definitely. And speaking of which, some time ago I was doing some project related to Dynamics 365, and there was a bug actually, that the due time for our package deployment was too high back then. It was the supported time actually. It was like 60 minutes, and as you know that we're in third world country, and that there are some internet issues. So usually our package deployment got failed. So we reported that to Microsoft, and based on our relation, actually they released a new version of connector for us, who has a limit of 90 minutes actually. So that solved
Fantastic.
a huge problem. Yes, we are the the level of relationship with Microsoft does helps. But Johnson, right now we are in the era where we are telling where we are presenting the security and cloud to customers across the globe. But on the same time, people are moving to metaverse. Microsoft has invested a huge amount of financials in metaverse, and there are new capabilities as well. For so what do you think? Do you think the cloud and security would be integrated somehow with metaverse, or it is a separate entity?
It's difficult to tell at this stage. There's always a new buzz thing around the corner. I think as everything, it's in its early stages. We need to wait and see what happens with that space.
Yeah.
I think it's gonna need a couple more years of shakedown before it really gets there. It really
Yeah, but do you
does.
think like Azure is supporting blockchain, like IS, PaaS, and now there's BaaS as well, blockchain as a service. So do you think that people would be creating and developing some applications for metaverse as well on Azure, and they would be hosting on Azure?
Yeah, for sure. I think there are huge opportunities there. I think I'm watching the blockchain area with great interest, especially around currencies and
Right.
what government's going to do with it. You know, they haven't really brought legislation in yet, other than I think it's Argentina where they've actually turned it into a local currency. There
Yes.
are rumors of certain banks that are trying different types of blockchains as a way of monitoring transactions. I mean, if you look at the UK, the exchanges there, the
Hmm.
current money exchanges, are pushing through, I think it's £1 trillion an hour or something in trade and transactions through their
Right.
networks. And that's just normal packets that you and I are used to on a network.
Yeah.
To
Yeah.
have that running on blockchains of some kind, really exciting idea. But oh boy, you've got to have your data together, right? You've got to know how to do it properly. If you lost a
Yes.
couple of trillion, I wouldn't like to be standing in front of the board explaining that to them.
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
definitely, definitely. Yeah, and Joe, that's why I raised this topic, because right now we are saying that data is more important than crude oil. So data is the new oil, right? Data is the new gold. But in near future, data is equal to the cryptocurrency, right? Because if we lack in security, we will lose trillions. As you were saying, we will lose trillions. So
yeah,
this is the real value of security. So right now we can lose billions, millions, or in some cases billions, but in near future we can lose trillions if we are
yeah,
lacking in the
yeah,
security. And
yeah,
this is the bigger picture that we need to
yeah.
see.
You've
Yeah.
got organizations that'll spend millions of pounds a year on just having a couple extra meg on a line so that their transactions are faster.
Hmm.
Now you
Yes.
try to layer across the top of that a level of security, blockchain analysis, etc., and it slows it down. They're not
So,
interested. So whatever you're going to be doing in that area, whether it's
yeah.
security or just transactional, there's a balance
Hmm.
between safe and secure, and being able to transact in the speed that your competitors are.
Hmm. Yeah, exactly. We can definitely have a number of layers to improve the security, but still, if we are not fast enough, then we will lose money again,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
even in the CRM space, if
Hmm.
you think about it that way, you've got your sales department selling product. You want to make sure that they gather the right information on your clients, get it into CRM, that it can go through the process, come out the other side as a lead qualified, and then end up as a sale. Transactions of that type into your financial backend services, etc. Making sure that those are secure, making sure that that only the salespeople and maybe the execs above them can see what's going on. There's so many areas where security has a role to play, and it's important that they can get to that data from wherever they are.
Yeah. Yeah.
Especially with COVID. I know we're coming out of the other side of it, but
Yeah.
I
No.
remember
No.
just
Yeah.
before COVID, working with a financial services organization, not the one you and I were dealing with, and they said to me, there was under no circumstances could they allow their call center people to work from home. It just wasn't done.
Hmm. Hmm.
6 months later, they were all working from home, but they found a way around
Yeah.
it. So I
Yeah.
think there's a barrier uh, to work that is predicated on old ways of working. Recently,
Hmm.
COVID is now starting to slip into the background again, and we're
Hmm.
already seeing a call to the office, a call back to the office from lots and lots of people. But how many
Yeah.
of those jobs can actually stay at home and don't have to go
Hmm.
into the office? And again,
Yes. Yes.
securing those environments, making sure that people can't copy data out, that they're only working on what they should be working.
Yeah, no, definitely. And speaking of CRM, Microsoft has introduced a huge amount of security features to be integrated from Azure and from M365 within CRM. And CRM integration with WooCommerce platform is more easy than ever. But do you think that Web 3.0 would affect this thing because we are going into the decentralization era, right? So that you would be
Mm.
responsible and you will be the owner of your own data. So do you think the security would be more enhanced when we go to the Web 3.0?
For sure, it has to be. Otherwise, there's any point in going there, right? It needs to be not only secure but faster. If those two principles aren't met, people are certainly businesses are not going to adopt it. It's just not in their interest. Again, I think we spoke about earlier, people get pushed into things. Certainly, organizations they don't really want to move unless they have to move, and what makes them
Yes.
move is a push or a pull. The push is legislation. The pull is faster, quicker, better, and saves them
Hmm.
money.
Yes, exactly, exactly. So this is the big picture actually that we need to see, and we should be ready for the future. But from Microsoft, as you're an ex Microsoft, so from that perspective, do you have any suggestion for partners for end users in terms of security?
Sure. I think engaging with Microsoft is really key. They are. It's difficult for me to speak for them now, but I know they are driven to assist you as a partner to make it work for your end client. Talk to them, tell them what's going on. Play open book with them if you need to, and they'll
Hmm.
engage with you and the partner. Their job is to help you get it done, and in a way where it's using their technology. Don't be afraid to say to them that the solution they have or the technology doesn't quite work and why. They'll either find a way of making it work, as you saw with the patch, or
Hmm.
they will help you find a third party that can provide the service that you need. Don't try hide
Hmm.
from them your challenges. Be open with them, and they'll help you meet them.
Right, right, right. So thank you very much, Jonathan. It was really nice talking to you, and I enjoyed a lot all of the discussion. It reminded me of the old days, actually. So thank you very much.
Thank
Yeah,
you. It was nice to see you again.
thank you, Jonathan.
All right.
Thank you, guys.
Bye,
Thank you,
everybody.
Jonathan, and thank you, Rana Usman. Concluding today's, just wrapping up the session, today we discussed the severity of threat landscapes internationally, organizations' view towards security implementation. Jonathan projects internationally, and discussing different case studies. We are putting in light on different case studies, workable case studies, and obviously I liked your comment of the big picture. secure, and faster. That is how it should be if we are migrating towards the Web 3.0. So once again, thank you, our privileged guests, and all the attendees, and should stay tuned for different aspects of cloud and cybersecurity landscapes. And I would wish you all the best for the new normal, and let us be safe and faster. Thank you very much. Take care,
Thank you.
guys.
Bye, everybody.
Bye bye.
Bye
Bye.
bye. Bye bye.